Welcome to PlotLines, where we'll use our over 30 years of experience in real estate communications to uncover the real stories behind real estate. I'm Heather Crowell.
And I'm Britni Acriveau. Dive in with us as we invite guests to break down the ever-changing landscapes of real estate together.
All right. Well, welcome to PlotLines, everyone. Special episode today. We're recapping season 2, which
That's
I can't
crazy.
believe.
Another 10 episodes down.
I know. Like I feel like it was, it was a year ago. We were sitting here talking about launching a podcast. So that, and as you can tell, the Eagles are about to go to the Super Bowl. So hopefully by the time you see this, we'll have won, but TBD there.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about season 2. Mm-hmm. What were your takeaways? There were a lot of themes that were discussed. Let's talk a little bit about the key themes and takeaways from season 2.
Yeah, so exciting. I can't believe that we have 10 episodes down, another season in the books. And by the way, we're also a Viddy Award winner for our podcast.
I know.
Which is so exciting. This just started as a concept and now here we are. But looking at the episodes from this past season, we've really covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
We talked about housing quite a bit. We had 2 retail-centric episodes, which was really fun. Right. We covered multifamily amenities. We talked about historic properties.
Right. That was so interesting.
Yeah. So many themes. But I think some of the things, looking back at the headlines that everyone came up with, some things that I noticed is first of all, now we're in 2025, right? So a lot of our past episodes were...
The questions are sort of getting answered.
Yep, what's happening with the new administration and rates and things like that. So I'm excited to kind of start to pivot and see what the conversations look like going forward. But I noticed with a lot of the headlines everyone came up with, there were some common trends. Things like being patient, anticipating changes, being cautiously optimistic for what's ahead. Did you kind of pick up on that too?
I feel like I got a lot of we know it's going to get better and it's going to be positive. Don't know exactly when that inflection point will be, but things are looking good.
Yeah.
Future.
What episode stood out to you? I know we had so much fun doing that retail episode with 3 different guests.
That was
which
fun.
Was cool.
I think having multiple guests on to share perspectives is a lot of fun, and maybe we can do more of that. But retail always has a special place in my heart. But and it's also having a really nice moment. Yeah. In a CRE world, right? There's
finally
a lot of demand.
Some positive headlines about retail.
People respecting the in-store experience. So, so that was a really good episode. And I actually, I was surprised by Jonathan Burton's episode and how interesting that concept was of restoring historic landmarks. And that, I know you've had more experience there. Yeah. But, kind of in Philly, that is so important. And there's so much history here. So that was a really interesting conversation, I think.
How agree. About you? Yeah, I thought that one was good. Speaking of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, we also met with Todd Neufer from PSCCU. Yep. That was our first sort of credit union bank perspective on mortgage rates. Yeah. And then going back to housing, we also talked with Kathleen and Eric from Tri-County Suburban Realtors, another sort of double guest scenario, which was cool.
Yes.
I think the housing market, there's still a lot of questions there,
still
right?
To be settled on that front. Yep.
So that was good. And what else? So many things. We recently met with Lauren to talk about the state of construction.
Yeah, I feel like that was surprisingly illuminating for me, how we know that construction prices had changed and that there were issues with supply chain, but we really didn't know. I didn't know how creative construction firms had to get to start meeting, to be able to meet the needs of just a shifting landscape and the supply chain disruption and the labor disruption and the cost increases. So I thought that one was really illuminating.
Yeah, I agree. And then, it feels like so long ago, but we talked with Mike Lohmeyer from Impact Community Capital.
Yes.
We're talking about months ago in our recording schedule, but that was all about affordable housing. Yeah, which is also, we still see headlines about affordable housing.
Yeah, and it ties right into the, the mortgage and housing availability discussion, which is so prominent, right? If housing doesn't get more affordable, we really need to lean on the affordable housing investment.
Yeah. So what do you think? I'm trying to think of sectors we still haven't hit on as we go into season 3. Ironically, I still don't think we've covered anything industrial
and lodging. I think I would love to have,
that's right.
you know, hotel, you know, let's learn a little bit about, or share with our guests a little bit about how that environment's shaping up. Obviously boomed, travel boomed after COVID.
Yep.
There's a lot more business travel now. I would just love to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, me too. I think too, I mean, just look at all that has happened in the past months too, with things like the LA fires and, you know, maybe even potentially having a guest at some point walk us through what does sort of that aftermath look like from a real estate perspective.
What's
you know,
that
so that
timeline?
could be interesting.
I know. I've seen some like, Rick Caruso launched a fund to help rebuild. So there's a lot going on. And that will take a while. It'll be really interesting, at least from a real estate perspective, to watch the rebuilding process.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's still so much room for more guests to come on and break down headlines with us. But I mean, another great season in the books. I just love how everyone is buying into the concept. The headlines have been so creative. And you know, exciting for us to see on our side, because we deal with media all the time and love putting guests sort of in the hot seat to come up with headlines yourself.
And I think that's what, at least from our perspective, doing this has been the most fun, is that we were able to keep it authentic to what we do
100%
and relevant to, you know, the work that we do day in and day out with clients, trying to reshape the narrative, and communicate their value proposition. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think
agree.
maybe we, you know, look ahead, a little sneak peek for our guests on who we might be, or our viewers on who we might be bringing on.
Yeah, so I mean, we still have so many great guests that are already scheduled ahead. I know we're going to talk with Rich Gottlieb at Keystone, a big player here.
Office, residential conversion.
All of that, mixed use. We have a few guests coming on to talk about multifamily, mixed use projects. Even it looks like Caitlin McCarthy is going to talk to us a little bit about the Boston market. So that could be interesting.
That's where I went to school. So.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, a lot of good stuff to come. But as always, we're always looking for guests and anyone willing to come on and break down headlines with us. So yeah, I mean, another great season in the books, and I'm really excited of what's still to come.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks.
Stay
and we'll
tuned,
see you
everyone.
Next time. And go birds.
Go birds.
This podcast is a production of Gregory FCA. If you enjoyed our discussion, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts